Here's something else that's interesting. Most smartphones have a GPS chip in them, meaning that they're recording the latitude and longitude for the location that you collected the photo or video. Now, question, can you use that GPS latitude longitude for that photo or video inside your GIS? In other words, do you really need a GPS receiver? Can you just use the location tagged onto your photo or video from your smartphone? Yes, you can. Let's check out how to do that. One way you can map your images automatically inside your geographic information system's environment is to email the photographs from your smartphone to your online web album of photographs. In my case, as you can see here, I've got a Picasa web album set. One of those is a public-facing Dropbox. It's important that it's public-facing. I'm going to scroll down until I find the photograph that I'm interested in mapping. If I click on that photograph, I can see several things. First of all, I've got some photo information. See, I've got a latitude and longitude coordinate right here, as recorded by the GPS chip in my smartphone. What I can do is I can copy that latitude longitude to any one of a variety of tools, such as ArcGIS Explorer Online or ArcGIS Online. Let's go ahead and do that. I've pulled up ArcGIS Online. Select the Map tab. Under the Find or Search button or window, I'm going to go ahead and type in that latitude and longitude coordinate for my photograph. So I'm going to highlight that and paste it in as my latitude. And my longitude, since it's west longitude, I'm going to put a negative sign before it. And there's the position where I was. As you can see, I was on an interstate highway. What state was I in? Let's zoom out and find out. Ah yes, I was in southwest Wyoming. This is the correct location, but I really would like to link my photograph to that point. How do I do that? I can go ahead and add and create an editable layer. I'm going to call it Map Notes. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and put my push pin right down there where my photograph was taken. I've placed a push pin where the photograph was taken. Now what I can do is I can add a link to the photograph that's sitting on my Picasa web account. How do I know what the URL is of the photograph that I've taken? Well, I can go back to my Picasa web account and I can right-click on the photograph. Then I can find out what URL accesses that photograph. I can copy the image URL right here. Depending on your web browser, you might have to right-click and go to Properties, or simply go to Copy Image URL. Once I've copied the image URL into my Windows clipboard, then I go back to my ArcGIS Online session, and I go down to this location here. This is where the external web address is stored. I paste it in there. Great! I can then close that window. Now when I click on the push pin, up pops the photograph at the location where I took it. As you can see, traveling across the wide open buttes and valleys of western Wyoming along the Oregon Trail. Beautiful location. And heavily used today, as you can see. Lots of trucks use this route. Why is I-80 so much more traveled than I-70, for example? Look at the topography and you'll find out why. This is near the Continental Divide. It wasn't as much of a barrier as in Montana or in Colorado for the old settlers and pioneers. Let's go ahead and save this map now. I'm going to save it just like this. How about a title? I-80 on the route of the Oregon Trail. My map is saved, but nobody can see it but me, so I think I'll share it. I'll share it with everyone. And there's a small URL if folks want to look at it that way. Or they can go to My Content or just search on ArcGIS online and they'll find it. So this is a quick and easy way of mapping your photographs or videos based on the GPS latitude-longitude coordinate pair that is recorded inside your smartphone. Are there any other methods to do this? Obviously, you might not want to do this or use this method if you have many photographs that you want to map. Is there an automatic way of taking the header file from your images from your smartphone and mapping that? Yes, there are a variety of ways to do that. Let's look at one way. This is ArcGIS Explorer Desktop. It's a virtual globe tied to a whole series of base maps, tools, and utilities, so it's really a virtual globe for GIS users. One of the tools that it has is it can automatically read the GPS latitude-longitude from your photographs or videos and automatically place them in the correct position on the globe. Let's demonstrate that. One of the things that's in it is an Add-ins tab, and one of those is Create or Add Geotagged Images. Note that I'm using the latest version of ArcGIS Explorer Desktop, which came out at the end of June 2011. It's version 1700. That pops a window up. I'm going to go ahead and hit this folder, and I have a image called LHS Front. I'm going to go ahead and open that. This is an image that I took at Lakewood High School in Colorado. As you can see, it placed the image in its correct location. Let's go ahead and zoom in and see that a bit better. There is the image. Click on that, and it shows me my path in its correct position. I can also tilt the image and see it a bit better. Now what I can do is I can create a note right there. Let's go ahead and do that. Then close this, go to, there's my image at the correct location, show pop-up, and there's the front of the high school where we conducted a GIS GPS Institute a while ago. Let's rotate this a bit and take a look at the school from west to east. You can see this curved part of the building and this part over here. Let's pull up that image again. There's the curved part and there's the straight part. It's quite easy to do. Again, I'm using ArcGIS Explorer Desktop to automatically map a photograph. This photograph was stored on my local drive. The way it worked is that it read the EXIF file or the header file from my photograph. My smartphone, like most smartphones, has a whole bunch of information about the photograph. The f-stop, whether the flash fired, the resolution, and so on. But also it has a latitude and longitude, which is right here. But there's a whole series of things that get recorded when I take a photograph or video. And the add-in, the Create or Add Geotagged Images add-in for ArcGIS Explorer Desktop reads the latitude and longitude and places it at the correct location. Let's demonstrate this one more time. This will illustrate that this method is quite easy for a bunch of geotagged images at once. So let's go ahead and create or add geotagged images again. This time I'm going to open a folder, navigate to a different location. I made a field trip to the Gilman Historical Ranch not long ago with a group of educators. I'm going to select all of those photographs covering the Gilman Ranch. as you can see, it is creating a location for each one of the photographs in that folder. Here are the photographs that I took at the Gilman Historical Ranch. It's a little hard to see those, so let's change the base map. Now I can see my photographs a bit better. Let me tilt a little bit so I can see the horizon. Okay, there I am underneath a citrus tree. Looks like a lemon tree. And here's inside the ranch house. And here's the view from the ridge. Beautiful spot. Okay, so there are several ways to map these photographs from your GPS embedded photographs from your smartphone onto your GIS, whether 2D or 3D GIS. There's a lot more ways to do this than I've described here, but this should get you thinking that A, it's quite doable and it's quite easy to do. But it also should get you thinking about making stories from your maps. Right? These maps are living and breathing documents. You can tell a story, in this case about the historical settlement of the Gilman Ranch area in Southern California and why the settlers actually settled here. Or your story might be about water quality in your community, or about tree cover in your community, or land use in your community. It could be about a whole variety of things. The point is that through video, photographs, sketches, notes, combined with dynamic maps, you and your students can really tell the story of what you're trying to get across, or the problem that you're trying to solve. Another useful thing that you can do with this tool is you can automatically tag a photograph that does not have any existing geotagging information on it. Let me demonstrate. Once again, I go to this create or add geotagged images. What we did before is we added geotagged images. Now what I want to do is create some geotagged images. So I'm going to go to a folder that has an image that has no geotagging on it whatsoever. In other words, it's a photo I took with a regular camera that does not have a GPS chip in it. Let's go ahead and find my image now. Here it is. As you'll notice, it has a 0 latitude and a 0 longitude. In other words, I took this photograph with a camera that has no GPS chip in it, so it doesn't know where it is on the Earth's surface. But I can tell it where it is on the Earth's surface by clicking on this globe symbol. If I click on here, then navigate to my map. Okay, that's where the photograph was taken. Notice that it writes a latitude longitude. I'm going to create a note there. Done. I've changed the base map, and as you can see from the name, when I hover over the image, it's now called Cattle Barbed Wire Fence Geotagged.jpg. So it's nice that it didn't overwrite my original photo. Now I've got the original photo that's ungeotagged, in other words, no latitude, longitude, or any other information associated with it. But now I have a geotagged image, and so it turns out that ArcGIS Explorer does a very nice job of geotagging photographs. So here's my image at the correct location. I've changed the base map. Here's my barbed wire. There's my cattle. Let's go ahead and change the symbol. A star is appropriate since it's Texas. Let's bump up the size a bit. Okay, excellent. Okay, now you have several ways of mapping your images. using a variety of tools, ArcGIS Online and ArcGIS Explorer. But don't stop at the mapping stage. Remember, your goal is to analyze the distribution, the pattern, the whys of where.